All right, everyone, and welcome to another edition of American League East Recap. On the show today, we will talk about the very happy news, which is that the Boston Red Sox have signed Alex Bregman to a 3-year, $120 million contract. Now that you think with $40 million per year, and I believe there's a lot of deferred money that actually will make that deal in terms of net present value closer to 3 years and $90 million. But in any event, it's a really great get for the Boston Red Sox. This is a player who, honestly, just a couple days ago, it still seemed was looking for that long-term deal. He is represented by Scott Boras, and Boras is an agent who always believes that his players deserve to get paid a lot of money, and in this case, it seems like Boras blinked. I mean, last year he said, this is Scott Boras, that we would be done with the short-term opt-out contracts. Well, too bad. It's happened again. It happened with Pete Alonso 2 weeks ago, and now it seems to happen again with Alex Bregman, who the Boston Red Sox will get on a 3-year term with opt-outs after each of the first two contracts, after each of the first 2 years. The Houston Astros had a deal on the table at the beginning of the offseason that was rumored to be around 6 years and $156 million. Apparently, they made a increase in that total offer over the last couple of weeks and days, and then the Detroit Tigers had a 6-year, $171 million contract on the table. The Chicago Cubs came in at, let me get this right, 4 years and $120 million, which was $30 million per year. Remember, the Red Sox deal is 3 and 120. And again, with the deferrals in the Red Sox deal, which are still being reported out, the net present value is almost 3 years and $90 million. So, in any event, he took a lot of money on an annual basis. He didn't get that long-term deal, but a lot of Scott Boras clients didn't. But for Bregman, the ability to get paid more on a yearly basis is what attracted him. And kudos to the Red Sox. Again, we have criticized the Red Sox here and elsewhere for not spending money, for not putting their money where their mouth is, but undoubtedly they are putting their money where their mouth is here, really blowing the market out and bringing in a difference-making player. Again, this is a player who had his best year in 2019, in which he hit 41 home runs and drove in 119 runs. And that was also the year where he had just won his second straight All-Star award. So for Bregman, he hasn't been the same player, maybe you would say, since 2019. And by the way, 2019, it's worth noting, was the year of the so-called juiced ball, in which Major League Baseball saw a lot of home runs being hit by all kinds of players. So, however, having said that, he's not the same player that he was since 2018. This is still a player who has never struck out more than 13.6% of his plate appearances, which I believe came last season, by the way. So he doesn't strike out a lot. He walks. He's had multiple seasons in which he's walked more than he's struck out. So, including in 2023, when he walked 92 times and struck out 87. So he doesn't strike out a lot. He walks. He puts together a good plate appearance. He makes really good contact. His numbers at Fenway Park are fantastic, and I think that's why he's going to be such a good fit for the Red Sox. But again, he has still, and we're going to throw out the year 2021, but since 2022, he's had at least 23 home runs in each of the seasons. So this is still a very productive player. This is still a player who can really post for you. And he's got great numbers in the postseason. He's got a ton of postseason experience. You know, he's got 19 home runs in, I think, something like 90 plus postseason games. He's been there, done that. And I think this signing does vault the Red Sox into postseason contention. This is a move that I think definitely makes them a factor in the American League East. But now I think they're really going to be in for it. They could really make a push to make a deep run in the playoffs. And Bregman is just going to be a fantastic fit. But it's interesting because a lot of people will look at it and say, well, he played third base in Houston last year, but the Red Sox have a player in Devers. True, he's right. Devers is a franchise cornerstone for the Red Sox. The Red Sox do not seem to be particularly enthused about moving him off of the hot corner, and Devers doesn't seem enthusiastic himself. But it's certainly going to be insurance. Let's say Devers gets banged up, then you can immediately plug Bregman in. Bregman, it seems, on opening day will be the second baseman. where the Red Sox have a very interesting prospect, Christian Campbell, who is absolutely making his push to make the roster and to be the long-term answer at second base for the Boston Red Sox, and that's what makes the opt-outs great, because let's say Bregman decides to opt out, well, they have Christian Campbell waiting in the wings. They have a whole bunch of players who are waiting in the wings. It's a very strong farm system for the Boston Red Sox. And the other great thing about Campbell, who hit 330 at 3 different levels last season, is that he could play multiple spots in the infield and maybe a little bit of left field. So the Red Sox are covering themselves in a lot of ways here. Again, it's a 3-year deal. There are opt-outs. They have these young kids ready to go. It makes sense for the Red Sox on so many levels. Plus, it's the right-handed bat that they so desperately needed to balance out their very heavily left-handed order. And it's a great fit. Again, it fits well with Alex Cora. This is the kind of player that I think Alex Cora desperately wanted. Alex Cora signed a 3-year deal to continue managing in Boston, and I do find it interesting that the term on Bregman's deal matches the term on Alex Cora's deal. So it seems these two players who obviously know each other very well from their time in Houston. 2017, when Alex Cora was the bench coach for the Houston Astros, and Bregman was the beginning and the face of that renaissance in Houston. It's very interesting that these two are able to kind of meet up now again. And again, Bregman's defense at second base I think will be fantastic. This is a very athletic player who should be able to handle the transition fine. At Winterfest a couple weeks ago, Alex Cora talked about how they envisioned Bregman being a second baseman. But of course in Houston he was blocked by Jose Altuve and Carlos Correa, so he shifted to third base and handled the position very well. Interestingly though, he did win his first Gold Glove for the first time in 2024 at third base. So, still a very good athletic defensive player. And this is just a great deal for the Boston Red Sox. Red Sox fans have to feel excited about this. This is a player that can immediately kind of restore the famous name of the Boston Red Sox, can get them back into postseason contention. You're going to see his jersey a lot around Fenway Park. And it's just a great day for the Red Sox, and really does put everyone else in the American League East on notice and makes everyone kind of think about where they stand in this pecking order. We'll do a future video on where the American League East stands as we get ready with spring training. And when we do, of course, we'll factor in the Alex Bregman signing. That will be a huge part of it. And until then, this has been another edition of American League East Recap.